It is that time of year again. We are going to be doing a lot of farmers markets, and so I want to tell you guys how to find your own farmers markets that you can attend and work at for anywhere from April to September seems to be when like the peak market seasons are. So if you haven't been in a market before, if you haven't done any kind of like craft show or farmers market or anything like that, sometimes it can be a little bit tricky to go ahead and find where you can get like reputable markets without getting scammed, which is kind of crazy. We'll get into how that can be a problem. But before we get started, my name is Quill and this is Bewildering Studio. If you love all things art related, go ahead and click like and subscribe before you forget. Now that we have that out of the way, the first thing that I want to talk about is scamming. So I haven't personally been scammed because I do a lot of research. I check out markets like before I even try to apply, but a lot of times markets have application fees. And with an application fee, you have to trust that your fee is going towards a market and not just to some random person who's pretending to have a market. And I've heard horror stories of that happening. So I strongly suggest when you find a market, an ad or something like that, you go look at forums and you see like how long has this market been in business, like if they have like on their website like pictures of previous markets, or if people comment, sometimes like on Facebook, like people comment like, hey, this place isn't real, or this place took my money. Like, just be really adamant about really looking into every little detail that you can, and if it looks like they don't have a good reputation, go ahead and pass on those. The one thing that you should be wary of is that there are tons of new markets popping up. So just because a market hasn't like actually been a thing in the past, like they don't have like an annual thing, it's like new, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's fake or a scam or anything like that. And those can actually be really good opportunities because these are organizations or people that are hosting the market that really want to grow and they need you, and you can be a part of it and you can see it grow. Like over the season, one of the markets that I used to go to, like I was there for their first market and it was just like maybe like half a street worth of vendors, and then now they have like hundreds of vendors and they're taking up like an entire block. So I think that it's really good to take an opportunity to really get to know the hosts and like kind of feel them out and see like what they're doing, making sure that they're doing like the state laws and standards. Because if they're not really asking you a whole lot from you, like requirements for the city specifically, so they're probably like not actually legitimate. So that being said, so tip number one, just make sure it's a credible source. Number two is where you can find these places. I've found a lot of success on Facebook Market, or not necessarily Market itself, but like Facebook Market themed groups. So if you're gonna go to like Facebook groups, you can be like my city farmers market or something like that. So like for example, like Pacific Northwest Farmers Markets has a couple of like consistent markets that'll post like, hey, here's a link, go apply. We're gonna be operating from like April 2nd to June, blah blah blah. And so that's a really good way to see like what's going on. And another thing to make sure that you keep up on is the fact that a lot of times these markets are happening for long periods of time, and they're going to want you to sign up and apply before. So if you're like, oh, I want to do a market in June, don't go and be like, hey, it's June, let me apply for this market that I want to do this month. You're going to want to be searching like now to make sure that your application is in and you have a spot, because this is a really high sought after job and you're going to miss out if you don't have your application in there in a timely manner. There are waiting lists. A lot of places do waiting lists, but that's obviously not going to cut it when you want something guaranteed. So just keep that in mind. Facebook is a really great source for that, and what's cool about it is because, like I said, I'm calling them forums, I don't know if this is the correct term, maybe like comment section, is people will go in and they'll be like, hey, this market was in a really poor location. I had a really hard time parking here. Or they'll be like, wow, there was so many people. There was a lot of people selling jewelry. If you're in the jewelry business, it looks like this is what people are shopping for here. Things like that. So it's really good to kind of get a feel for it before you go. And as far as like other places that you can go to find these things, I've noticed a lot of advertisements on like cork boards in grocery stores. So oftentimes grocery stores will have like a community board and you should post free events, or some of them it doesn't have to be a free event, but it has to be like a nonprofit organization in order to get approved to be on their board. And oftentimes I've seen a lot of like weekend events or like seasonal events, and they'll usually have like a contact and you can be like, hey, do you guys still need vendors? Or they'll even say right on there, looking for vendors. So grocery stores are a great location. One of the markets that I went to, I actually found at Starbucks. So check like local coffee shops. Local coffee shops will often have community boards as well. So yes, Facebook and coffee shops and grocery stores. So there's 3. But the other one that I want to talk about is something that I recently discovered, which is a website called Manage My Market. And Manage My Market, I'm going to link at the bottom of my description here so you can go see it. But what's really cool about Manage My Market is that you can have your own profile where you can actually post descriptions and pictures of the products that you sell. So when you apply for a market, the people can actually see what you sell, and you don't have to every single time go and email the hosts that you're applying for every single market individually. You just have your profile, and typically like there's a lot of similar questions on the application. So I don't know if on their end they have like a template that they can kind of like change up or whatever, but most of the markets that I've applied for, like it seems pretty consistent. Like they want your UBI number or like your city business license. So that's another thing to keep in mind with this I can't words. Okay, this website in particular is that they definitely want you to have a business license. And like most markets will say that, but not all markets. So some community events will not even really ask you. They're like, you're a private contractor, you do your thing, you're responsible for your own taxes, like we're not gonna really hound you about it. And then there's others that are a little bit more serious. So make sure that before you do these markets, like these applications, you know what is required of you. Make sure that you go and you download their vendor handout or like their vendor packet. They call it different things depending on where they are. But typically what it'll be is it'll say like what they're about, when they're going to be offering events, and they'll talk about their pricing. So like what they charge for booth fees, or whether or not they do charge for booth fees at all. And then they'll have like their cancellation requirements, what their setup requirements are. So like they'll tell you like how big they will let you have your table, or if they provide tables or canopies and things like that, how many spaces you're allowed to have, whether or not there's electricity hookups or anything, whether or not you can have music in your booth. So really, really important information specific to that market. And so what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to read that first before you start the application, because if you do your application, it takes a long time and you end up, oh, I'm missing this one element. That can be really infuriating and disappointing because you wasted all that time. So be sure to do that. I think that that's all I have for you today. Just where to find the markets and just some tips on applying. So I just wanted to share that, and if you have any other questions, I can answer them in the comment section below. So go ahead and let me know if there's anything else that you're wondering about. But you have an amazing day, and I'll see you next time.